Subscribing to The Observer on YouTube couldn't be easier, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that. First, navigate to www.youtube.com/theobservernj. Once you get there, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button. Next to the subscribe button, click the down arrow and then all. And that's it. You're subscribed, and now anytime The Observer is live, you will be notified. Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Knessa coming to you live from the home studio today on this, the 24th day of June in the year 2025. It is effing hot today. And so let's talk to Tony Mondero about it. Here he is, Tony Mondero. What is going on, my man?
I'll tell you, I noticed we both have our broadcast lights off. That's how hot it is outside. Right now, as we broadcast this, we're at 101 degrees, both in around the whole area. Harrison, Kearney, North Arlington, Lyndhurst, Belleville, Nutley. All the readership is enjoying temperatures over 100 degrees this afternoon. And Kevin, I do think we could get close to 103, 104 degrees this afternoon. Yesterday's high in Harrison, around 2:30 before the sea breeze kicked in, was 103 degrees. Now, is this the hottest it's ever been in our area? No, back in the 90s here at the Weather Center, we did have a temperature of 106 degrees. That was confirmed by Jack Murphy, our climate guy there. And just last year, Kevin, June 21st, we had 100 degrees, and we had an 8-day heat wave, but just only last year, which lasted 8 days. Tomorrow is the last day. We'll probably be a little shade cooler tomorrow with temperatures in the mid 90s. It's a little bit better than over 100. Overnight low is still miserable tonight. I wouldn't be surprised at midnight we're near 90 degrees. It's going to take that long for the temperature to drop like it did last night, where we didn't get into the mid 80s until like close to sunrise. Now, what happens is it's set up over the next few days. Please, before we get into the forecast, before we get to like and subscribe, do this. Please check on the elderly. Make sure they're okay. Please, those hell-bent wanting to walk your dogs and put cats out and stuff like that, the animals, wait until later today or this evening. It's hot out there. I'm sure the pavement is well over 150 degrees right now. And just think, if you went out there bare feet and hit a sidewalk, you're going to wind up getting a second-degree burn. You're going to do that for your animal, too. And put out water, not only for any strays that are out there, but also for the birds and stuff like that. My wife will love me for that. Is there relief in sight? Yes. It comes in the way of a strong cold front tomorrow. Do we pay the price with strong and severe thunderstorms? Possibly, but we wind up cooling it down substantially overnight tomorrow night, Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend.
What is the humidity like today? Is it? Do we have a higher real feel temperature today, or is it a little better today than it was yesterday?
Right. The media will use real feel. We use a heat index here. The heat index here, Kevin, which we use from the National Weather Service, has been around 110 degrees today.
Jesus, and I gotta tell you, I stayed up a little bit late last night, and I went to bed about 10 minutes to 12. And I got into bed and had the air conditioner going. And what happens at 10 minutes to 12? The power goes out. It was out for 3 hours. I look at the thermometer inside. The temperature is 87 degrees. I got out of bed and walked around, put on some emergency lights, and it was 92 still at that hour. And when I tell you, I mean, it was impossible to sleep. I don't know how people sleep without air conditioning in these conditions. Is it? I mean, and power was out for a good 3 hours. It looked like there was a lot of power outages in the area too, not just Kearney, but Harrison, North Arlington, Lyndhurst. How about the Harrison Weather Center? Did you experience anything like that overnight? Hopefully not.
Thankfully, no, Kevin. The power outage here is a major disaster because then we have to reset everything. We have lost computers in power outages. We've lost communication equipment in power outages. The last thing I need is even a little spike or a surge is very dangerous here to the Weather Center. Even stuff that are protected is dangerous. So we don't want to hear that. But I did check our local emergency management, Harold Stahl from Harrison OEM, earlier today. I asked him if the county or if he'd heard anything in the wind about possible, either brownouts or, power reduction just to be safe. He goes, no, so far so good. And looking across the county, just before we went on here around 1 o'clock, I checked the PSE&G power outage map, and there was only a handful of outages, and mainly in eastern Hudson County. They are still working on the problem what caused your power outage yesterday in the Arlington area up there at Kearney. So, PSE&G is on it, and I think PS usually does a pretty good job when it comes
Yeah.
to keeping power. And we've had worse heat waves, and power has stayed on. So there's no reason why power shouldn't, go out. But it's help, like we're doing here at the Weather Center. We're conserving and not having everything that we need to have on. We have cut back to try to save into the grid.
Yeah, if you look around, you may notice doesn't have as much light as he normally does, but we bumped up the brightness on the camera end, and it looks very, very clear. So you're doing yourself a good service there. How does it feel in the Harrison Weather Center? I know you probably have the air conditioners cranking behind you, but is it still warm in there right now?
Yeah, we're at 70 degrees, and the inside temperature here is not bad. It's about 80 degrees, but it's not humid at all. And
Good.
it's been staying like that, so thankfully we're in pretty good shape. And we also have a smaller space. God forbid if we ever had failure here. And since we've now been on the air with the Observer, for the last couple of months, we actually have another smaller little, even like a smaller little studio built for a backup, just in case this main backup breaks up, to give everybody the proper weather information and communication on the Observer Live, which you should like and subscribe.
No, I got to get over there too. I've never been in the Harrison Weather Center, even though I used to live 2.5 blocks from it, which is just unacceptable in my eyes. I'm sorry that that never happened, but I got to get over there. I'd love to take a tour if you wouldn't mind one day, and we could certainly show the folks all the incredible stuff you got set up and the beautiful backyard too.
Absolutely. The only precursor I have, Kev, is please come hungry. We do like to eat after our tour.
Don't. What else is going on? Everything else okay in your world? We won't mention the Mets.
No, my God, the Mets a whole different story there. The bottom is definitely the wheels have come off the wagon. The bottom is about falling off. I just hope Mindy finds a way for them to get back on track. Yankees were going through it too as well. And if it's going to be the only swoon of the season, I'd rather it now than come September or October. So if we make the promised land, later on in the year, I'll take this losing streak.
Well, you know what bothers me the most is that leading into this losing streak, and then they won one game in Philly, and then back to losing again last night at City Field, was the 6 game winning streak that they were in before the losing streak began with the Tampa Bay Rays, and I was starting to get arrogant. I was starting to think this is starting to feel like 1986 again. Like this is going to be a 108, 110 win team. It certainly doesn't feel that way now. I'll tell you what. But let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks. If they can pull it together, I feel a lot better. But I'm not so sure. I don't know what to think. So many people are on the entire pitching staff. Well, the original starting pitching staff seems to be hurt right now. So God knows what's next, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. I'll tell you something before I forget. Congratulations to the class of 2025 and all the area, our municipalities around here. I know I was heavily involved with my job over at Washington Middle School. What a nice year I had over there. I do some security work for them part time in my retirement. And a big shout out to to the staff over there, the teachers and students, and my, comrades at the security department really made me feel at home. I could almost tear up over it. That's how happy I am. And it did pick me, Kevin. I have to be honest with you. I've done 2 programs over there for WMS News. They got me to be their little school weather guy now.
I love it. I love it. It's a well-deserved thing. You know what? It really is perfect that they have you right there, and they could do this on a regular basis. And tell us this: there was some thought that maybe they wouldn't be able to graduate outside. Were they able to do everything outside over last week?
Well, we coordinated very closely with Matt Weber, the principal over at Harrison High School. He knew what we were up against. The big thing for us was getting through Thursday's thunderstorm event. Coordinated with Mark very closely at the Kearney Board of Education, and he understood that a lot of times I like to set up the day before, do practice and stuff like that. We were worried about strong winds blowing those chairs all over the place.
Yeah,
Thankfully, everybody went off fine. We actually had a graduation just outside of our area in Rutherford yesterday, another place that we oversee for weather advising, and they went off without a hitch yesterday too by having it later in the day.
that's great. That is great to hear. What else is going on? Anything before we sign off for the day? Everything else good, I hope?
No, we're doing good, and Kevin, have a great program. And just to wrap it up here, National Weather Service excessive heat warning expires at 8 o'clock tonight. We do get a little bit of relief overnight, real relief tomorrow night, but we may have to pay the price with strong to severe thunderstorms. If you're out and about tomorrow, be watchful for that. And then a cooling trend with a chance of showers. Cooling trend meaning highs in the 70s and lows in the 60s for Thursday, right into next Sunday with overnight low temperatures in the 60s. So there is light at the end of the heat wave tunnel. Thankfully, we don't have to go through 8 days of this. And before I leave you, I'll give you a temperature check. It is now up to 102 degrees here in the beautiful downtown Harrison, New Jersey.
102 degrees. My goodness. Stay cool, my friend. And next week, are we a Tuesday or are we Friday?
We are Friday of next week. We'll be starting our Fridays.
Okay, we will see you next Friday. And of course, if anything else happens in between, we will see you then. Enjoy the rest of the day, my brother. Thank you as always.
Very good. Thanks, Kevin. Remember, everybody, next Friday we start our beach forecast for down the shore.
Beautiful. There he is, the one and only Tony Mondero. He, of course, of the Harrison Weather Center. He joins us on Tuesdays, and in the summer, he will be doing that sometimes on Fridays, including 1 week from today. Now, let's take a look at this. This is something that has happened in the last couple of days, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a insight as to what the situation is over at Queen of Peace. Now, first things first, I was given word that the pastor of Queen of Peace, Father Anthony DeStefano, was going to be reading a letter on Saturday and Sunday at all of the masses, indicating that the North Arlington Board of Education is considering using eminent domain to take away the property at LaSalle Center, which you see here on the screen. This building used to be I guess the word is rectory for the Christian brothers, the De La Salle Christian brothers. Then the brothers left the Queen of Peace area in the early 2000s, and the parish converted it into LaSalle Center, and they have been using it lately for the Latino apostolate in the parish. There is a growing Latino population in North Arlington, and the parish found a need for that. So, what my understanding is, and this again is very much in the developing stages. I also received a statement from Stephen Yurchak, the superintendent of schools in North Arlington. My understanding is that the North Arlington Board of Education is starting this new pre-K program, and in their discussions and meetings and thinking about places where they would be able to house classrooms for this pre-K program, they determined that the only place where they could place these classrooms is at the LaSalle Center. Now, whether or not that's a valid point, I don't know, because I'm not a property expert. I don't know if there's really any other pieces of property in North Arlington that would be suitable for this. So I can't say with 100% certainty that what the North Arlington Board of Education is saying is correct, but what I'm hearing from the Archdiocese and Father Anthony DeStefano, the pastor, is that they don't believe in any world where the LaSalle Center is the only suitable property that the North Arlington Board of Education could use for these classrooms. So on one side, you've got the board saying this is the only place we can do this. You've got the archdiocese on the other side saying we think that's hogwash. There's got to be somewhere else where they could put these classrooms. And then when you think about this too, I think the bigger issue here is that you've got a government entity coming in considering eminent domain of a private religious institution. No matter how necessary classroom spaces are, and we know they are necessary because a lot of districts are putting pre-K programs into their schools. I don't know about using a piece of property that's owned by the church. And what the church has said, rightfully, I think, is if they could do this to us, a Catholic church, could this happen? And not saying necessarily in North Arlington, but in the future at a Protestant church, at a synagogue, at a mosque, anywhere, at a home. You know, you see a home, it's got a lot of rooms that you could easily translate into a classroom. It becomes worrisome. So, in the coming days, this is going to be an extremely volatile story because the Archdiocese says they plan to fight this tooth and nail so that they can hold on to the property. Now, here's a few other things that you have to realize. They have been in negotiations recently, have the Archdiocese, Queen of Peace Parish, and the North Arlington Board of Education. And Father Anthony DeStefano, again, the pastor, said that the parish and the Archdiocese would be willing to lease the building to the Board of Education, even long term. However, the board now says that they don't want to get into a lease because if they do lease the building, they're still going to have to put a lot of money into renovating the LaSalle Center, which is a legitimate concern because the way it is set up right now, it wouldn't be good enough for the school kids. And if they're going to invest, let's just throw out a roundabout number, $2 million in renovating the LaSalle Center, and it's owned by another entity, it wouldn't be a financially prudent decision to lease as opposed to buy. So they really want to buy the property, and the Archdiocese really doesn't want to sell the property. They would lease it, but they do not want to sell it. But the concern then comes up by the Board of Education that if you're going to put this kind of money into it, what if the Archdiocese at some point says, we can't do this anymore. We're going to either pull the lease or we're not going to do this beyond the first 50 years. So there's all that. What I have also been told by the Archdiocese of Newark from Maria Margiotta, the spokeswoman of the Archdiocese of Newark, is that in middle of May, she received a letter from the business administrator of the North Arlington Board of Education, and I'm going to summarize this in other words. And it was basically that this is now not a matter of whether we will use eminent domain for the building. It is now a matter of how much the board will pay the Archdiocese to take the building. And what concerns me about that is that both Steve Yurchak, the superintendent of schools, and the Archdiocese have both said that they entered into good faith negotiations. But if one side is saying that this is no longer up for debate, it's only a matter of how much we're going to pay you for the building, not if we're going to pay you. I don't know if that's necessarily good faith negotiations. That sounds a little bit more strong arming in my mind. So this is all very new. My understanding is that the parishioners are not happy about it. There was a lot of blowback at masses over the weekend. And there, remember, are two very distinct sides to this. And there's going to be a lot of accusations floating around in the coming weeks. We will keep a very, very close eye on this. I am afraid in my own way that this is going to become sort of like the Keegan landfill did back in 2019, when you have a real hotbed issue here, and people saying, no, we don't want this, and the other side saying, yeah, we do, and we're going to do it, whether you like it or not. And so we're going to have to keep our eyes on this very thoroughly in the coming weeks, and of course the coming months as well, because it's gonna. I just think I can't see that this is going to be something that turns out to be an easy solution, no matter what. So my request to our viewers and our readers is to keep your eye out, because as things develop and as things break in the next few weeks, when that happens, we're going to bring it to you as quickly as we can. We're not going to wait for the newspaper to get circulated on Tuesday or Wednesday. We're going to bring it to you right away, whether it's a live video or through a story on our website. And, I'm sure there's plenty that I'm forgetting about today, but read the story. It starts on page number 1, and we will continue to update it as much as we can over the coming days and weeks, because there's going to be, I think, plenty to update on. What's your thoughts? In the comment section, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, Twitter, wherever you are, please make comments about what you think about what's happening right now. Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? Should the North Arlington Board of Education be able to usurp this property from the Archdiocese of Newark? Or is this an overreach by the Board of Education? Should the Archdiocese be able to say, hey, this is our property. We've owned it for 100 years. Get your hands off our land and get your hands off of our building. So we'll see what happens in the coming days. Make sure you make comments about this when you can. Just a couple of other things that I want to bring to you. I find this is such a cool program here, where there were 12 Kearney High School students who were awarded their associate degrees a couple of weeks before they got their high school diplomas. How cool is that? We have a list of the 12 kids who got these diplomas from Hudson County Community College before they got their diplomas. In fact, we met the mom of one of the kids yesterday. She came into the office, and I think that's just an incredible thing, that you can wind up getting your high school diploma after you get a college degree. And we congratulate those 12 Kearney High School students who pulled off this incredible, incredible feat. And now I just want to remind everybody that coming up on July the 4th, which of course is a week from Friday, Kearney's 4th of July celebration takes place over on Veterans Field. Ralph Catafi, as he does each and every year, along with Mayor Carol Jean Doyle, put on an epic, epic fireworks display. This is one of the best displays in the area. Having the Passaic River is a blessing in many ways, because you can shoot off all the fireworks from there, but usually you get a crowd of about 10,000 people. That's coming up. If it happens to rain on the 4th of July, they will move it to July the 5th, so that everybody can enjoy the day. And just briefly, don't forget, well, first I want you to check this story out. This is Julia Pizzola and her mother, who was just inducted into the Hall of Fame. And this is a generational, 2 generations of athletic talent in Lyndhurst. Jason Bernstein did that story. Please check that out. And he's got a couple of other sports stories. And then don't forget, in 2 days, the Kearney Farmers Market kicks off. That's over by the Kearney Public Library on Garfield Avenue, between Kearney Avenue and Chestnut Street. It starts on the 26th and runs every Thursday through October. And the KUEZ has been doing this for years. And it is a great, great thing that you can go right there and get all of these Jersey fresh vegetables at your own convenience. All right, it is 2 o'clock on the East Coast, 11 o'clock on the West Coast. That's going to do it for this edition of the Observer Live. I want to thank my dear friend Tony Mondero for joining us today. Anybody who may be watching in the background today, I want to thank you for watching us as well. Don't forget, we will be back 1 week from today. But if anything develops in this story with Queen of Peace and the borough of North Arlington, we will certainly bring it to you as soon as we are able to get that information to us. So please do look out from that. For that, from the home studio, Kevin Canessa signing off for now, and we hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Stay cool, stay inside if you can, and we will see you very, very soon. Bye bye, everybody.